Just when I thought we were finally approaching a maximum amount of new 7th generation Pokémon revealed, so that they could focus more on these new Alolan forms, they went ahead and dumped a few more of both on us. On the downside, all we have this time are those gross Coro leak scans and not the beautiful videos, but news is news, so here's what I've got. First up is a set of Sandcastle Pokémon, in Japanese called Sunaba and Shirodesuna. Both of them are Ghost and Ground, adding to the previously unique Ghost and Ground Golurkline. People don't seem to be a huge fan of these guys, and I think in general there seem to be less fans of Pokémon that are based off of inanimate objects, and more fans of Pokémon based off of animals. As usual, I'll hold my judgment until I can see the Pokémon fully animated and in battle, but I am happy to see more Pokémon using rare type combinations. Speaking of Pokémon based off of animals is Yowashi, which appears to have two separate forms, one that's just a single fish, and another where several of the forms band together to make a giant illusion fish with a full school. Kind of reminds me of that school of fish that you see in Finding Nemo. A pre-evolution for Beware has also been revealed, in Japan called Nuikoguma. This one actually threw me off a little. So far, every single bear or bear-inspired Pokémon has walked on 2 feet by default in their art. But at least Beware's pre-evolution does what, pretty much all bears do. Moving on to Alolan forms, because of course we're getting more of those, are Meowth and Marowak. Alolan Meowth is a dark type and looks infinitely more sassy than its Kanto counterpart. I've always felt like Persian should be a partial dark type, even though I am partially influenced by the fact that Giovanni always had a Persian with him in the anime. Many speculated that a fire form for Marowak would be imminent after our last reveal of Pokemon characters. Kiawe is a captain who specializes in fire-type Pokemon, but then they also mentioned he had a Marowak. Well, it turns out that Marowak's Alolan form is not only fire-type, but ghost as well, which could be a really cool throwback to the Marowak ghost that haunts Pokemon Tower in the first generation. So far, Alolan forms have only been given to Kanto Pokemon. It seems like there's a special connection with this region in Kanto, and the Pokemon Company is definitely calling back to the original Pokemon in more ways than one for the big 20th anniversary, but I do hope that more generations outside of the first get new exciting Alolan treatment as well. The final news from Coro is a look at the evil team. Team Skull. Oh, I guess we've had that before, huh? In Mystery Dungeon. Anyways, this Team Skull is the quick preview that we get for the enemies that we'll be facing in Sun and Moon, and honestly I like what we see so far. The boss is named Guzma, and the girl's name is Plumeri. The design seems very punk-inspired, and the grunts even look a little intimidating. I doubt it'll be long before we hear more about their true motivations, and I really dig Guzma's misshapen glasses, which I assume are a nod to them being a sun and a moon. That's all I've got for Pokemon Sun and Moon updates, but I actually want to close today with some Pokemon competition news as well. It was just announced that the 2017 season for competitive Pokemon is going to get a massive shakeup, with the biggest change being that most national championships will be leaving in place of a new championship series event in Europe, North America, Latin America, and Asia Pacific. These tournaments will be open to the entire world and have nearly $250,000 of prizes each. I am so excited to see more international tournaments outside of the World Championships, and I think this will do a ton to expand our global scene in the Pokemon trading card game and video games. These giant open events remind me of the Grand Prix tournaments run by Magic the Gathering, and I really hope that we'll be able to share more of these events through casting and streaming as well next season. In addition, regional championships will be spread throughout the year instead of clustered over several straight weekends, which should make them more accessible to everybody. That's it for today's Pokemon news, but man, am I excited. It's just under 2 weeks until the Pokemon World Championships, and just over 3 months until we finally see a new 7th generation Pokemon game. As always, you can click right here to subscribe to this channel to follow new updates right as they drop. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time with more Nintendo content.